Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of the Terran Defense Station Aegis, her dark eyes fixed on the massive alien vessel that had appeared in high Earth orbit just hours ago. The ship's crystalline structure seemed to defy conventional engineering, its surfaces refracting sunlight in ways that made it appear both solid and ethereal. "They're hailing us again," Lieutenant James Rodriguez reported from his communication station. "Same message as before." Sarah nodded, her jaw tightening. The Galactic Conclave's demand still rang in her ears. "Demonstrate the source of the quantum anomalies we've detected from your world, or face immediate quarantine." The real problem wasn't the demand itself. It was that the aliens had detected something they shouldn't have been able to detect at all. The resonance program was supposed to be undetectable by conventional means. "Commander," Dr. Aisha Patel's voice came through the comm. "I need you in Lab 7. Now." Sarah found the quantum physicist pacing in front of a holographic display showing energy readings that made no sense. Aisha's usually neat hijab was slightly askew, a sure sign she'd been running her hands through her hair in frustration. "The Conclave's sensors," Aisha said without preamble, "they're not just detecting our resonance signatures. They're actively probing them. Look at these patterns." The display showed waves of energy emanating from the alien vessel, interacting with something invisible that surrounded Earth like a web of light. "The resonance field," Sarah breathed. "They can see it." "Not exactly," Aisha replied, adjusting her glasses. "They can detect its effects, like watching ripples in a pond without being able to see the water. But that's not possible with their level of technology. Unless they've encountered something like it before," Sarah finished. The doors slid open, and Director Marcus Zhang entered, his weathered face grave. At 65, he'd been with the Resonance program since its discovery 15 years ago. "The Security Council has made their decision," he announced. "We're to proceed with a controlled demonstration." Sarah turned sharply. "Sir, with respect, if we reveal what our resonance teams can do." "If we don't," Marcus cut in, "the Conclave will assume the worst. Their ship isn't alone, Commander. We've detected 11 more at the edge of the solar system, all carrying enough firepower to turn Earth's surface to glass." Aisha's hands flew across her console. "The quantum fluctuations are increasing. Their probes are getting more aggressive." Sarah moved to the window, watching the alien ship gleam against the backdrop of stars. She thought of her own resonance team, of the power they could channel when working in perfect synchronization. The ability to affect probability itself, to bend reality through the focused power of synchronized human consciousness. It had seemed like magic when they first discovered it. How did they even know to look for it? She wondered aloud. Marcus joined her at the window. "That's what worries me most. The Conclave's message mentioned quantum anomalies, similar to ones they've seen before. Somewhere out there, someone else discovered what we did. And something about that discovery scared the Conclave enough to come here in force." "Sir," Rodriguez's voice came through the comm. "The Conclave ship is launching something. Small object, heading for the station." They watched as a crystalline pod docked with Aegis. The message it contained was brief. "You have 24 hours to prepare your demonstration. Choose your most capable team. Be advised that any attempt at deception will be considered an act of war." Sarah exchanged looks with Marcus and Aisha. They all knew what this meant. After 15 years of keeping Earth's greatest discovery secret, they would have to reveal the truth. That humanity had learned to tap into the quantum field that connected all consciousness, that properly trained teams could synchronize their minds to affect probability and reality itself. "Contact the Zenith team," Marcus ordered. "They're our best chance at controlling this situation." Sarah nodded, already reaching for her comm. The Zenith team. 5 individuals who had achieved the highest level of quantum synchronization ever recorded. They would need to be perfect tomorrow. One slip, one moment of desynchronization, could reveal too much or too little. As she left the lab, Sarah paused. "Director, what if this isn't about stopping us? What if it's about learning from us?" Marcus's expression darkened. Then we need to be very careful about what we teach them. Humanity wasn't ready for this power when we found it. I doubt the rest of the galaxy is ready for it now." The alien ship continued its silent wash over Earth, its crystalline surface reflecting the light of a sun that might soon witness either first contact or first blood. Within its depths, alien minds contemplated human potential with a mixture of fear and fascination, unaware that they were about to witness something that would change their understanding of the universe itself. Sarah sent out the call to her team, knowing that the next 24 hours would determine not just Earth's fate, but potentially the course of human evolution. The Resonance program had started as an experiment in human consciousness. It was about to become humanity's introduction to the galaxy at large. And somewhere in the quantum field that connected all things, possibilities began to shift and realign, preparing for a demonstration that would shake the foundations of galactic civilization. Deep within Aegis Station's restricted section, 5 people sat in a perfect circle, their breathing synchronized to the millisecond. The Zenith team's preparation chamber was spartanly furnished, its walls lined with quantum sensors that displayed a mesmerizing dance of interweaving energy patterns. Maya Patel, the team's focal point, opened her eyes first. At 28, she was the youngest person ever to achieve Level 5 resonance synchronization. "The field is stable," she reported, her voice carrying the slight echo that always accompanied deep resonance contact. Around her, the other team members maintained their connection. Thomas Chen, the probability mathematician. Delina Rodriguez, the quantum field specialist. David Okonjo, the neural pattern expert. And Kai Watanabe, their energy flow coordinator. Together, they could touch the underlying fabric of reality itself. Commander Chen watched from behind the observation window, Dr. Patel at her side. "Show me their readings," she requested. Aisha pulled up the neural synchronization displays. 5 brainwave patterns pulsed in perfect harmony, creating interference patterns that shouldn't have been possible according to known physics. They're achieving 98.7% synchronization. That's their highest yet. "It needs to be perfect," Sarah replied. "The conclave won't be satisfied with anything less." Inside the chamber, Maya spoke to her team through their shared mental link. They had discovered early in the program that verbal communication wasn't necessary once deep synchronization was achieved. Their thoughts flowed together like tributaries joining a river. "They're afraid of us." Thomas's thoughts rippled through their connection. "I can feel it in the quantum field. The conclave ship is radiating fear." "Not just fear," Alina added. "Anticipation. They've seen something like this before." David's mental signature pulsed with concern. "The patterns in the field, they're not natural. The conclave is trying to contain something that feels like us." The team's shared consciousness expanded, touching the edges of the quantum field that permeated all space. Through their combined awareness, they could sense the alien vessel above Earth, its crystalline structure humming with energies that seemed to push against the very fabric of reality. Kai's consciousness sparked with sudden insight. They're not just containing, they're channeling. Their ship, it's designed to interact with quantum fields. Maya brought their focus back to the immediate task. Whatever they know, whatever they've seen, we need to show them exactly what Director Zhang specified. No more, no less. The team began their final preparation sequence. Through years of training, they had learned to merge their consciousness without losing their individual identities, a feat that had driven several early test groups insane. The key was understanding that human minds were already connected at a quantum level. The Resonance program had simply found a way to amplify and control that connection. Outside the chamber, alarms suddenly blared. Sarah rushed to the nearest console as Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice came through the comm. "Commander, the conclave ship is powering up some kind of quantum scanner. The energy readings are off the charts." In the preparation chamber, the Zenith team felt it immediately. The quantum field around Earth shuddered as alien energies pushed against it, like stones thrown into a still pond. Maya's eyes snapped open. glowing with the strange inner light that accompanied deep resonance. "They're not waiting," she announced, her voice overlaid with the echoes of her teammates' thoughts. "They're scanning us now." Sarah turned to Aisha. "Can they detect the team?" "Impossible to tell," Aisha replied, her fingers dancing across multiple holographic displays. "Their technology operates on principles we barely understand. But these energy levels, they're not just scanning. They're trying to provoke a response." Inside the chamber, the Zenith team's shared consciousness expanded further, instinctively pushing back against the alien probe. For a brief moment, their merged minds touched something vast and ancient in the quantum field. Echoes of other consciousnesses that had touched this same power. Maya gasped as the connection broke. The team's synchronization wavered but held at 95%. "Commander," she called out, her voice shaking slightly, "we're not the first. But we might be the last." "Explain," Sarah demanded. "The quantum field holds echoes, memories," Maya said as her teammates nodded in unison. "The Conclave, they're not just containing this power. They're hunting it. Everywhere they find it. She trailed off, her face pale. "They what?" Sarah pressed. "They destroy it," Thomas finished, "along with anyone who can access it. We saw echoes of entire civilizations, just gone, erased when they developed abilities like ours." Sarah's blood ran cold as she looked up at the alien ship through the reinforced ceiling. The Conclave hadn't come to Earth to witness a demonstration. They had come to judge whether humanity would be the next civilization to disappear. Director Zhang's voice came through the comm, tense but controlled. "Commander Chen, the Conclave just moved up their deadline. We have 1 hour to begin the demonstration." The Zenith team was already resuming their positions, their faces set with determination. They had trained for years to protect Earth. Now they would have to do it by revealing their power to the very beings who feared it most. As Sarah watched them sink back into synchronization, she wondered if showing their true capabilities would save humanity, or doom it. The next hour would determine whether Earth's greatest discovery would be its salvation or its death sentence. Above them, the crystalline ship pulsed with energies that defied conventional physics, its alien crew preparing to witness a power they had spent millennia trying to eradicate from the galaxy. They were about to discover that humanity's connection to the quantum field was unlike anything they had encountered before, and that was exactly what terrified them. The demonstration chamber aboard Aegis Station hummed with suppressed energy. Its reinforced walls, designed to contain quantum fluctuations, gleamed under the harsh lighting. The Zenith team stood at its center, arranged in their familiar pentagon formation, while 3 crystalline figures from the Conclave observed from behind a force field. The aliens' translucent bodies pulsed with internal light, their thought patterns visible as complex geometric shapes shifting beneath their surface. Their leader, who had introduced itself as Observer Prime, stepped forward. "Begin your demonstration," it commanded, its words manifesting directly in the observers' minds. "Show us this power you've awakened." Sarah Chen watched from the control room, her hand hovering over the emergency protocols. Director Zhang stood beside her, outwardly calm but radiating tension. Dr. Patel monitored the quantum readings, her eyes widening at the data flowing across her screens. "The Conclave observers," she whispered. "They're not just watching. They're actively interfering with the quantum field." Maya felt it first, a subtle resistance as the Zenith team began to synchronize. It was like trying to swim through honey instead of water. "They're suppressing the field," she communicated to her teammates through their weakened link, making it harder to connect. "Then we show them what humans do best," Thomas responded. "We adapt." The team had trained for field interference, though never at this level. They adjusted their mental patterns, finding new pathways through the quantum field. Their consciousness began to merge, pushing against the alien suppression. Observer Prime's crystalline form flickered with surprise as the human synchronization deepened despite their countermeasures. "Impossible," it projected. The dampening field shoaled. The thought cut off as reality rippled around the Zenith team. The air itself seemed to bend, light twisting in ways that defied physics. Small objects in the chamber, pens, tablets, testing equipment, began to float, suspended by forces that no sensor could properly measure. Phase 1, Maya announced, her voice overlaid with her teammates' harmonics. Basic quantum manipulation. The floating objects began to dance in complex patterns, their movements precise and controlled. But Sarah noticed something else, something in the way the conclave observers were reacting. Their crystalline forms had shifted color, from cool blue to an agitated red. "Director," she said quietly, "check the station's external sensors." Zhang accessed a secure terminal, then froze. 3 more conclave ships just dropped out of quantum space. They're taking up attack positions. In the demonstration chamber, the Zenith team moved to Phase 2. Their merged consciousness expanded, touching the quantum field that permeated the station. Through their shared awareness, they could feel the new arrivals, sense the weapons powering up. "They never intended to let us survive this," Alina's thoughts rippled through the team. "The demonstration was just to confirm what we could do." Observer Prime's form pulsed with patterns that translated as both fear and resolution. "The corruption has progressed too far," it projected, not bothering to hide its thoughts from the humans now. "Your species has touched powers that will destroy you, just as they destroyed the predecessors." "The predecessors," Maya spoke aloud, pulling the knowledge from the quantum field itself. "The first species to touch this power. You didn't destroy them. You weren't strong enough. They destroyed themselves. And we have spent millennia ensuring it never happens again," Observer Prime replied. "Your potential ends here." The force field separating the observers from the demonstration area suddenly inverted, becoming a containment field around the Zenith team. Outside the station, the conclave ships moved into firing positions. But Maya smiled, and her expression was mirrored by her teammates. "You still don't understand," she said, her voice carrying the weight of 5 synchronized minds. "We're not like the predecessors. We didn't just touch this power. We learned to shape it." The containment field shimmered as the Zenith team's shared consciousness pushed against it. Not attacking, not forcing, but persuading reality itself that the field had never been activated. Quantum probability shifted, and the barrier simply ceased to exist. Observer Prime's form flashed with patterns that translated as pure shock. "Stop. You don't know what you're doing." This power corrupted entire civilizations, drove them to madness. Because they tried to control it. David's voice merged with Maya's. "They tried to bend it to their will. But we learned something different." The team's synchronization peaked, their merged consciousness touching every corner of the station. Through their shared awareness, they could feel the conclave ships preparing to fire, feel the terror and determination of their crews. "We learned to work with it," Alina continued their shared thought. "To become part of the quantum field, not its master." Thomas's voice joined the chorus. "We learned to resonate with reality itself." Kai completed the thought. "And that's what terrifies you. Not that we'll destroy ourselves, but that we found a way to use this power safely. Because if we can do it, then everything you've done, all the civilizations you've destroyed in the name of protection, was for nothing," Maya finished. Observer Prime's crystalline form vibrated with conflicting patterns. "You cannot be allowed to spread this corruption. We will not permit." The observer's thought cut off as reality rippled again, more powerfully this time. The Zenith team's merged consciousness expanded beyond the station, touching the quantum field that encompassed the Earth itself. Through their shared awareness, they could feel every human mind on the planet, a vast network of potential waiting to be awakened. And in orbit above them, the conclave ships discovered that their weapons had forgotten how to fire. Alarms blared throughout Aegis Station as the conclave fleet moved into attack formation. But within the demonstration chamber, an impossible calm prevailed. The Zenith team stood united, their merged consciousness expanding like ripples in an infinite pond. "Target lock detected." Lieutenant Rodriguez reported from the command center. All conclave vessels are charging their primary weapons. Sarah Chen watched as Director Zhang activated the station's defensive protocols. But they all knew conventional defenses would mean nothing against the advanced alien ships. Earth's survival would depend on something else entirely. They're broadcasting a final warning, Rodriguez announced. The message appeared on all screens. Submit to immediate containment or be eliminated. You have 30 seconds to comply. In the demonstration chamber, Observer Prime's crystalline form pulsed with complex patterns. You cannot hope to resist. The combined might of the Conclave fleet has already lost. Maya interrupted, her voice carrying the harmonics of her entire team. You just don't know it yet. The quantum field surrounding Earth rippled as more resonance teams across the planet began to synchronize. They weren't as advanced as the Zenith team, but they didn't need to be. They only needed to add their consciousness to the growing symphony. Multiple quantum signatures detecting, Aisha reported, her voice filled with awe. The field it's singing. She was right. The quantum sensors were picking up patterns that translated into pure harmonics, as if reality itself was humming in tune with human consciousness. The Zenith team stood at the center of it all, conducting an orchestra that played with the fundamental forces of the universe. The conclave ships fired. Beams of concentrated energy, powerful enough to shatter planets, lanced toward Earth. But they never arrived. Reality rippled, probability shifted, and the attack simply missed. Not deflected, not absorbed, but finding themselves having never been fired at all. Impossible. Observer Prime's thought patterns radiated shock. The probability matrices are part of the same quantum field we've learned to work with, Maya explained, her voice gentle despite the power flowing through her team. Your weapons depend on specific laws of physics. We're not breaking those laws. We're just voting on which ones apply at any given moment. The Conclave fleet fired again and again. Each time, probability shifted just enough that their attacks existed in possibilities that never manifested. It wasn't a shield or a defense. It was something far more fundamental. Do you understand yet? Maya asked, but she wasn't just speaking to Observer Prime now. Through the quantum field, her words reached every conclave ship. This is why we're different from the predecessors. We don't try to control this power. We collaborate with it. Through their shared consciousness, the Zenith team could feel the confusion and fear radiating from the alien ships. The Conclave had spent millennia dealing with civilizations that treated quantum manipulation as a weapon, a tool to be mastered and wielded. They had never encountered a species that treated it as a partnership. Your entire civilization is built on control, Thomas added, his consciousness merging seamlessly with Maya's. Your ships, your weapons, your very bodies, all designed to impose order on reality. Elena's voice joined the chorus. But reality isn't meant to be controlled. It's meant to be experienced, to be danced with. The predecessors fell because they tried to master this power, David continued. They saw themselves as separate from it, above it. We learned to be part of it, Kai completed the thought. To add our consciousness to the quantum chorus of existence itself. The Zenith team's merged awareness touched the conclave ships, not attacking, not threatening, but offering understanding. Through the quantum field, they shared the human experience, the joy of discovery, the willingness to adapt, the strength found in cooperation rather than control. Observer Prime's crystalline form flickered with patterns that had no translation in human thought. This is not possible. The corruption always leads to destruction. Always. Because you never gave it a chance to lead anywhere else, Maya replied. You saw the power that destroyed the predecessors and assumed it could only destroy. You never considered that a different approach might yield different results. The quantum field hummed with increasing power as more human minds joined the resonance, not controlling, not demanding, but adding their consciousness to the great symphony of reality. The conclave ships found their weapons refusing to fire. their engines responding to possibilities where peace was chosen over conflict. "We're offering you a choice," Maya said, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's potential. "Continue trying to control this power, to contain it, to destroy any civilization that touches it, or learn from us." The entire Zenith team spoke as one. Learn how to work with it, how to become part of the quantum chorus instead of trying to silence it. In orbit above Earth, the Conclave fleet hung motionless, their crystalline ships refracting sunlight in patterns that seemed uncertain for the first time in millennia. They had come to judge humanity's worthiness to exist. Instead, they found themselves being offered a lesson they had spent millennia avoiding. The quantum field waited, humming with possibilities, as the galaxy's oldest civilization faced a choice that would reshape their understanding of existence itself. Silence filled the quantum field as the Conclave fleet hung motionless above Earth. In Aegis Station's demonstration chamber, the Zenith team maintained their synchronization, their merged consciousness gentle but unwavering. They had shown the galaxy's oldest civilization something unprecedented, not just power, but a completely new way of wielding it. Observer Prime's crystalline form shifted through complex patterns, its internal light pulsing with what human consciousness interpreted as deep contemplation. Finally, it projected a thought that carried notes of something the Conclave had not expressed in millennia: uncertainty. In all our history, the thought resonated through the quantum field. We have never encountered a species that could harmonize with the quantum chorus, as you call it. The predecessors sought to command it. Their lesser inheritors tried to weaponize it. But this... Sarah Chen watched from the control room as the alien's form changed color, shifting to a deep violet that seemed to indicate profound realization. Director Zhang stood beside her, his expression cautiously hopeful as he monitored the Conclave fleet's weapon systems powering down. "Tell me," Observer Prime projected, its thoughts touching the merged consciousness of the Zenith team, "how did your species discover this approach? What led you to seek harmony rather than mastery?" Maya smiled, and through their shared awareness, her teammates added their own understanding to the response. "We had help," she said simply, "from each other." Through the quantum field, they shared the memory of the resonance program's early days, the failures when individuals tried to control the power alone, the breakthroughs that came only when they learned to work together, the fundamental discovery that human consciousness was already connected at a quantum level. They just needed to learn to listen to the connection rather than force it. "Your civilization," Elena added, her voice harmonizing with Maya's, "spent millennia trying to prevent anyone from repeating the predecessor's mistake. But in doing so, you became trapped in their fundamental error, the belief that this power must be controlled. We chose a different path," Thomas continued. "When we first touched the quantum field, we felt the echo of the predecessor's fall. But we also felt something else." The song, David's consciousness, merged with the explanation. The underlying harmony of reality itself. We realized we didn't need to master it. We just needed to learn to sing along. Kai completed the thought. Through their shared connection to the quantum field, they could feel the impact of this revelation rippling through the Conclave fleet. Crystalline forms flickered with new patterns as ancient minds grappled with concepts that challenged millennia of certainty. The corruption. Observer Prime's thought carried complex harmonics of realization. Perhaps we misunderstood. What we saw as corruption might have been the quantum field reaching out, Maya finished, looking for consciousness that could join its symphony rather than try to conduct it. Dr. Patel's voice came over the comm, filled with excitement. The readings, the Conclave ships, they're attempting to synchronize with the quantum field, not to control it, but to listen. Sarah finished, watching as the crystalline vessels began to pulse in rhythm with the quantum chorus that human consciousness had helped orchestrate. Observer Prime's form shifted again, its patterns aligning with the same harmony that the Zenith team had tapped into. "We have spent millennia as guardians, preventing what we saw as inevitable destruction. But perhaps we were meant to be students instead. The quantum field hummed with new possibilities as the galaxy's oldest civilization began to learn what humanity had discovered through cooperation and shared consciousness. The conclave ship's crystalline structures resonated with the quantum chorus, no longer fighting against reality's fundamental harmony, but becoming part of it. "We would learn from you," Observer Prime projected, its thoughts touching not just the Zenith team, but reaching through the quantum field to all of Earth's resonance teams. If humanity is willing to teach, the conclave is finally ready to listen. Maya exchanged glances with her teammates, their shared consciousness rippling with joy at this unexpected victory. They had faced the galaxy's judgment and offered understanding instead of resistance, harmony instead of conflict. And in doing so, they had changed not just humanity's future, but the course of galactic civilization itself. The predecessors sought to master the quantum field, Maya said, speaking for all humanity through the resonating consciousness of her team. They never understood that its true power comes not from control, but from connection. Not from commanding reality, but from joining its endless dance. Above Earth, the conclave fleet began to pulse in perfect rhythm with human consciousness, their crystalline ships refracting sunlight in patterns that matched the quantum chorus. Where they had come to contain what they saw as corruption, they found instead a new way of existing, one that promised to heal millennia of fear and isolation.